Merhaba Tarkan, thank you for talking with us for BBC London 94.9.
Oh, it's an honor. Thank you. I thank you to come to Istanbul to do this interview with me.
Well, we are indeed in Istanbul, aren't we?
Yes.
I've had lots of very scary moments in cars and taxis in your city traffic and the different kind of traffic laws that you have here. Presumably you're more
individual laws.
Individual Turkish laws, I think. And of course the studio that we're doing this interview in is in somewhere in Istanbul, I believe.
It's actually like almost in the middle of Istanbul. It's like a different part of Istanbul, which we call Levent. I live here in this neighborhood, so I know this neighborhood very well, and I like it here. But the different parts of Istanbul, all kinds of different parts of Istanbul.
It's many cities within one city, that's how it seems.
Exactly.
Well, you're back with a fantastic new album, Metamorfoz. How has it been received by your fans?
I think very well. It's a little different from the previous ones. I think it's more Western influenced, rhythmically and more electronic. But I still kept the Turkish essence of my music, I think, the Oriental touches, Turkish instruments. But I think it's more dynamic too, more up-tempo, BPMs are faster. I think it's one of my favorite albums so far.
I love it to bits, actually. I feel that there's a really nice range of tracks from, as you mentioned, the very upbeat Dili Duduk, for example, to some lovely ballads like Gün Gibi.
Yes.
So there's a nice variety across the album. There's something there for everybody.
I think so too.
How long did you spend putting it together?
1.5 years. Yeah.
So it really was a labor of love. I mean, you had to really keep working until you felt you got it completely right, and it was
absolutely. But I had to have a deadline because otherwise it just takes forever. So there were actually like 12 or 13 songs in the album. I had to take a couple of them out so I can release it. But yeah, it took a long time, especially in the studio. We spent like 6 or 7 months physically in the studio, like spending almost 14, 16 hours a day there. And I like the studio. I like to be a part of the production part and the arrangements of the tracks. Because I write my own music and lyrics too, they're really like my babies, and I really want them to be as perfect as I have them in my heart and my mind.
When you said they're like your babies, so many artists do say this about their musical creations. Do you ever get tired of your tracks? Because I do get artists saying that, oh God, that's the 150 millionth time I've heard that tune and I don't want to hear it anymore.
I do. I get sick of them sometimes because you keep listening and listening to them again and again, especially the mix part.
With everything looping.
Sometimes it's like one song is like 3 hours long, a song, and it gets a little tiring sometimes. But I love music. I just can't get enough of it.
And of course you would not, certainly not want to be doing anything else as a career. Metamorfoz also feels like an album that can perhaps reflect your brilliant stage shows for which you are so famed for.
Thank you.
Who choreographs your stage shows? Do you have different people each time? Do you have any say in the lighting and the special effects?
I do. I really like the production part of every aspect in my career in music. Because some songs, they really have a visual picture in my mind. So the light and even the sound, I try to be a part of it. And I spend a lot of time during the tours too, rehearsing, talking to the lighting people and sound. I guess I just like to be involved in almost every step of it.
Well, it sounds as though as an artist you have an all-round vision. It's not just you singing a track on the microphone.
No.
There's involvement in the composition process, there's involvement in, obviously, the recording process, the post-production,
yes,
and then right through to the stage shows and the choreography that goes with that.
Definitely.
So you really have your finger on the pulse in every part of your career.
Yes, almost, but because I've been working with these people for a long time, now I trust them and they know what I want, what I really like. So I try to stay away from their the thing they're doing, so I can relax too sometimes. But yeah, often I always check the stage before it's been designed or anything, and I really like to give directions how I feel about the choreography, the lights, and everything, because the stage is like my home, and I want to feel like I'm home when I'm there. There should be no surprises about everything. I mean, anything. And
no silly wires trailing across in the wrong place that you can trip over as well.
Yes, definitely.
What is really, really important for you in terms of your live performance? And I'm asking this question in view of the fact that recently I saw a particular artist performing in London who has a great CD out, but doesn't seem to have any sense of showmanship. You know, there was no show in terms of the concert.
To me, the most important thing is to really connect to my fans. I don't have to have tons of dancers on stage or a huge production. No. I mean, I went to a lot of shows myself, and big stars, you know, Madison Square Garden, and a lot of places, and some I was disappointed at because it's just too much production. You don't feel that the real connection, the love, and it wasn't sincere to me. So in my shows, I think to be natural is the key. When you're on stage, to be honest and sincere, and to make sure that from the beginning to the end, you stay connected with them. Of course, there are moments on stage when I feel a little isolated in my own world, when I sing ballads. But even that, I feel that they're watching my expressions, and that they still keep in touch with me during those songs too. So it's just, you know, to meet and to celebrate the beauty of music and love and have fun. Just enjoy those 2 hours, 3 hours.
Fantastic. Well, let's hear a track from your new album, Metamorfoz. Tarkan, tell me about the track we just heard from your new album.
That track, it just came from out of nowhere. We were working on another track on the album. I was a little bored of it, you know, with the producer I was working with. I said, let's just write something new, you know, something different, something up-tempo. And then, you know, the song just happened in 2 hours. And the next day I wrote the lyrics. And I realized that this song really gave the right direction to the album and changed the whole sound of the album. And after this song, we reproduced all the other songs again and made them more edgy and more electronic and more pop, actually. So Vayanam Vai is an important track in the album. That's why it's the first track in the album. And
that what you just said makes a lot of sense. It does actually feel like the launching pad for the other tracks that come afterwards.
Cool, I actually feel that way too.
Yeah, definitely. Lyrically, can you tell me a bit about the song? Because, you know, many of our listeners are not Turkish speaking.
It's a song about love. One-sided love, though. The girl doesn't know about the guy who's in love with the girl. So it's like me mourning to be with her, but she doesn't know about me. So Vayanam Vai means, oh mama, oh, I have to do something and to be noticed by her, otherwise I'm gonna die.
So quite serious, really, then.
Yeah.
There are serious consequences there. Well, we are expecting you in London again for your concert at Wembley on April the 13th. Are you excited about that? Do I need to ask you if you're excited?
Yes.
Okay, I'll ask you. Are you excited about
I'm always excited. It's so weird. You know, it's been 15 years since I'm professionally involved in my career. I'm always nervous before every show. And I never had a sip of alcohol or anything before I perform, so I can relax. Because the moment I'm on stage, the moment I meet my fans, the excitement just goes away, and I feel just relaxed and home. But it's been so long since I've been in London, 7 years, and I'm a little nervous. You know, I want that venue to be full and packed and have a lot of fun with my fans. So I can't wait to be in London.
I'm sure it's going to be packed at Wembley on April the 13th, without a doubt. Do you have any calming rituals that you use before you go on stage then, or are you one of those people that spends the 3 hours before on the toilet?
No.
With stomach problems or anything like that. I mean, do you do breathing? Do you pray? What do you do?
I do some vocal exercising before I step on stage. I open up my voice, and yes, I do some breathing exercises. But I always go to the venue really early and spend like 5 or 6 hours there, talking to everyone and to my band, so I can relax more and get used to the atmosphere.
You kind of ground yourself in the atmosphere and in the surroundings and the people that are there. Okay.
I try not to eat too much, because you can't be too full stomach on stage, and I try to keep myself positive and try to understand how those people feel, actually, not me, because they've been waiting for so long, and I try to understand their real emotions and think about them more than myself. Okay, so you try and focus on the audience, yes, and their needs and what they want. And of course, people in London are so looking forward to having you back. We haven't seen you, as we've said, for over 7 years. Your last concert was at Alexandra Palace, I believe. Yes. And of course, this will be the first time you'll be playing at Wembley, so it's exciting for so many reasons. What kind of set are you preparing for Wembley? Are we mainly going to see tracks from the new album? Are we going to see some of your classic tracks as well? A mixture of all of my albums, actually. Some of the English songs too. I mean, the old tracks, Şıkıdım, Şımarık, all those, classic hits. Everything's going to be on this show. All kinds of songs. Maybe some surprising songs too, even. I mean, some songs I don't even know, maybe. I don't know. Oh, some unreleased material? Maybe. Oh, maybe. Maybe a remix version of some songs. Oh, wow. Yeah. Ah. It's going to be like a rainbow. Like a rainbow, with some surprises thrown in, and stuff that'll be familiar to people, tracks that people love already, plus of course the showcasing of the brand new album as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And there's going to be a great after show as well. Do you know about this? There's always an after yeah, I do. Have you been invited? No. I might attend though. It might be helpful if you did. I think because the after show party will inevitably be centered around you. But Absolute Events, the promoters for this concert, Max, Mehmet and Zoo, are planning a very, very exclusive after-show party at Crystal, which is an extremely exclusive club in London. Oh, I'm definitely going to go there. I believe that you might possibly be the guest of honour, so it might be good for you to turn up. Is there anything particularly special about London for you? I mean, I'm presuming you've been there many times. You must have. Music. I love music in England. All those great artists, I admire British music, and the producers there. And I have some people I've worked there before, and I like London. It's very cosmopolitan to me. A lot of people from all around the world, which is like New York kind of to me, because I lived in New York for a long time. I can relate to London. I don't feel like a stranger there. Shopping, of course, is nice. Really? Not too expensive? It's expensive. It's very expensive, actually. A little bit overrated, I think, for shopping, London. It is. But, well, I mean, what about other cities? You've mentioned New York, where you have lived for many years. Well, and why did you live in New York for 12 years? What was there for you that was that attracted you to the place? A few things. I wanted to learn English, first of all. I didn't know how to speak one word English when I first went to New York in 1994. So I went to school there for a couple of years to learn English, and also fame in Turkey and this whole new world was a little overwhelming for me. So I had to be away from that and go back to my roots of freedom and to do the simple things I forgot about. So here in Turkey, you're so instantly recognizable on the street that you have very little freedom here. Yeah. In New York, you were able to sort of pass down the streets without too many people stopping you and wanting an autograph or wanting to rip your shirt off you, even. Well, mainly it was actually press, it was a little overwhelming. I could not react to all the rumors and tabloids, and not the fans actually, because I love to be on stage and perform to them. But yes, if there's no freedom in your life, you start to get a little emotionally sick. You know, I realize that I'm becoming an anxious person. I can't leave the apartment. So I did a favor to myself actually to be back on the streets and to find myself again, because otherwise you can't produce. A lot of limitations around you, which limits your creativity. Thinking about the things been written about you and all that, I was just tired about it.
Sure. And of course the great thing is in New York, as you say, you learnt to speak English as well with an American accent. So that's a good thing too. What about somewhere like, I don't know, Germany? I mean, because you were born in Germany.
Yes, I was born and raised in Germany.
And you came to Turkey when you were 13.
Yes.
Is Germany a country you could go back and live in?
No, because I don't like the weather too much. The same thing about London.
I was going to say, is it worse than London? Worse than London, surely.
I mean, because I was born and raised there, I'm used to that gloomy weather, but I like the sunlight, It just makes me more happy. I don't think I can go back to Germany and live there. But I love Berlin. I love a lot of cities in Germany. I go back and spend some time there for a few days. But then I get a little bored. I can't deal with the weather.
Can you speak German fluently as well?
No.
No, oh, well, no point.
I can read, I can watch movies, but I just mix up all the languages: Turkish, English, German. No.
Okay, well let's rule out Germany then. In that case, pop artist fees in Turkey seem to be sky high. I mean, I'm actually quite surprised by how high the fees are for artists here to perform. Do you feel that this prevents you or other artists from playing abroad as much as perhaps you would like?
I didn't know that the fees are high here. They are?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. If I was a pop artist, I'd come and work here. Well, apart from the paparazzi that you have here, that obviously seems to be a downside, but...
Well, that's a common thing everywhere, I think. Paparazzi is paparazzi in every country, I think. I think it was a problem in my life and in my career, because we always tried to adjust with the promoters and try to make them happy too. So I don't think I'm a very difficult person in this case. But I don't know about the other artists. I didn't really know that it is like that.
Yeah, it does seem to be a difficulty. I suppose another key question that I wanted to ask you is what about collaborations with foreign artists? Now, I suppose I'm sort of thinking of the kind of, I don't know, Yusundur Nenacheri kind of duet collaboration. Is that something you want to do at some point, that you've thought about doing?
I do want to do that, actually, to make different cultures come together and, give the message that we're all one and that music is so international and language is not that important, actually. I really would like to.
And then on your wish list, who's top of that wish list at the moment to do that with?
Well, Shakira, for example, she's hot.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. Tarkan and Shakira, I can see that.
Shaking our...
Well, you both dance so well as well,
dance.
So it would visually be very exciting as well, not just musically. We'll get Max Mehmet from Absolute Events to talk to Shakira. I think that's a good idea. In the UK, your huge hit, Shimmerik, was anglicised by Holly Valance into the Kiss Kiss song. What did you think of it?
I liked it. It was a different version. I thought my version was a little more passionate, something more original about it. But it was a big hit in England.
And the US as well.
In the US as well.
Yeah.
And I think she's hot. She's beautiful. The only thing I didn't understand was why she was totally naked in the video. Because the song is a catchy song. You don't need to do that.
Did she actually license it from you?
Because I didn't write the song.
Sezen Aksu wrote the song.
Yes, she did.
She did. So it was licensed, and it was
licensed.
Okay, because I remember seeing an interview with her in London's Metro paper, and in the interview they asked her about the origins of the song, where it come from, and had it not been done by a very famous Turkish pop artist called Tarkan, and she almost said no in this interview. Like, wow, yeah, she'd conjured up this track out of nowhere. Now I don't know if she was misquoted or whether it was just the one interview, but I was sitting there reading the paper thinking, you lie, you lie, you lie, you know.
So she almost said like that it's a new song or something?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, along those lines. But it was just the one interview.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you presumably didn't release Şımarık as a international single?
In English, you mean?
Yeah. Maybe could that not have been an option for you to do that?
I thought about that, and we tried some versions, but somehow the magic was gone. Singing in English, that song. It was released in many countries except England and America, I think, because it was in Turkish.
And it went #1 in quite a few countries, didn't it? In the Turkish.
In the Turkish version.
Format, yes.
Which was amazing to me, you know. In Germany, France, South America, I mean Mexico, Belgium,
yeah.
Holland. Yeah, I mean, it's such a catchy thing. It's so international. We all kiss, and it's tough to come up with a song like that all the time, you know. It's luck. It's a gift from God, I think, you know.
And Sezen Aksu.
And Sezen Aksu, yes. That song was written for somebody else.
Really?
Back then.
Oh.
And I met Sezen Aksu somewhere by coincidence, which I don't believe in. And she just mumbled the chorus to me. She said, listen to this track. I wrote it for somebody else. When I heard that kiss, I was like, are you crazy? I'm the only person who can pull off the song. You can give this to me. So it happened. I got the song.
Şımarık from Tarkan here with me, DJ Ritu. BBC London 94.9. We're coming at you from Istanbul, though. Tarkan, your album before Metamorfoz was recorded in English and called Come Closer. It proved to be a hit with people like George Michael, actually. So certain people really sort of took to this album, but perhaps was not so much of a hit with many of your existing fans. Why did you record the album as it was? What was your motivation?
To sing in English, or
to do an entire album in English?
I guess the main reason was Mr. Ahmet Erdogan from Atlantic Records, who passed away last year. It was his motivation. When he came to Turkey in 1994, he saw me on stage on the Şıkıdım song. And he said to me, hey, you gotta come to America. We have to record an English record for you. And I said, I don't know how to speak English. How is that gonna happen? He said, come, you learn English. So that was a sparkle of this whole project. And it took me a lot of years to learn the language, to write the right songs. And it was difficult times, you know. And spending time in America by myself, away from all my life here, was tough.
Was it a lonely time as well?
Oh yeah, a lot of lonely times. I regretted it so many times, you know. Said to myself, go back. It's never gonna happen, you know, because your native language is Turkish. And you have a success already in Turkish. Why are you doing this? I kept asking it to myself. But, you know, I had to do it. But then when I was in America, during the process, I realized that the show business is a tough life, you know, to live. And the more I walked towards the album, I felt emotionally that I'm walking away from it. That I didn't want to be a part of this chaos life, really. I guess I sabotaged myself when the album was finished. I didn't really promote it much. I didn't put much energy into it. And I guess I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it today. A voice inside me still tells me that I should push it, because I have a new version of the album now. A couple of new songs I added, and I took like 5 or 6 songs out of the Come Closer version. And this guy, Pete Martin from England, he lives in London, who I'm working with on the English album, he reproduced the album. And I think it sounds fantastic, but I'm not 18 anymore. I don't know if I can start all over again. But you know, I have to do it.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds as though there's a lot of mixed emotions about that album.
Definitely.
About the potential re-release of it, or a new version of it.
Yeah.
It sounds though you're not resolved in terms of quite where you're going with that idea and with that project.
Yes, because also the world is going towards such a weird direction in many aspects. I mean, the wars and global warming. I just feel like I have to do something about these issues more than music, because I think it's a responsibility to be famous, and I think I have to use fame to help. I don't know. I'm a nature guy, you know. Since I was a child, nature, animals was my first passion, and then music came. So today I realized that I really want to be involved in nature, and maybe write songs around this subject. And I don't know. Maybe I feel like something amazing is going to happen when I realize what I really want and what my real direction is in life. I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
I'm being really honest, you know, to you and to all my fans right now. I don't want to be fake. That's how I feel. I don't know what to do, really. When I watch the news and the news, when I take a look at the newspapers, it's just too negative. Music has changed too, the music industry. You know, downloads. We don't sell a lot of albums like we used to anymore.
No sales. Yeah.
Record companies don't really want to put a lot of energy and spend a lot of money on new records. I had trouble finding a record label in the States too. I mean, a lot of big stars have difficulties finding a label. So it's very a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
It does feel as though there's a whole re-evaluation process that you're obviously going through. You're just at that stage as an artist, and of course so many artists do go through that, and it's a positive thing to go through that, I think, you know.
So too.
And I expect it won't be the only time you will go through it either. I certainly hope not. But like you say, the music industry has changed almost beyond recognition just in the last even 2 or 3 years. It's a completely different industry to the one that we knew before.
Yes.
And that does take a lot of reassessment, I think, on everyone's side. But I mean, going back to Come Closer, did the criticism that you received, did that hurt you? Did you feel wounded by that, or are you able to kind of just let that go and it's water off the duck's back, as we would say in England? Or
well, I did that after a couple of months. Because, you know, for Turkey it was strange, me singing in English, I guess, because they were so used to my Turkish songs, me singing in Turkish. But they knew about the English album for so many years. Maybe that was another thing which people got a little sick about. It took so long. An album shouldn't take 8 or 9 years to finish. But, you know, I didn't speak English, so it's a natural process, I think. It was a natural process. I wasn't hurt, but disappointed, maybe. I don't know.
Because you'd put so much work into it, did you feel that was not appreciated or not valued?
I think so.
Yeah.
Sometimes the critics are being a little unfair, I think, a little too harsh.
And sometimes it's fashionable to criticize, isn't it? You know, it's like an artist has been at the top, he's sold, 15 million albums or whatever, so let's shoot him down now. There's almost that, I mean, certainly in the British press, there's that kind of mentality, you know.
But, you know, I don't believe in failure in life, really. This was an amazing experience for me. First of all, I've learned a language, which is, you know, a great thing. I mean, I met so wonderful people in the States. I mean, through Ahmet Erdogan, through all the producers I met and worked with. And that experience is just priceless. I don't really care that the album sold a lot or not, but this is so beautiful.
Is he someone that you miss? It's Ahmet Erdogan.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was like a father figure to me in the States, you know. every time I was like, in depression or I needed some advice, I used to go to him and we used to chat, go out, have dinners, and he used to push me and support me actually, emotionally. But even he really couldn't do much about the English album because it wasn't his musical preference, I guess. He didn't really know much about ethnic and American, mixing those two together. He was more in a Western direction, his influences, which I didn't want to go to. I wanted to keep it still in my own sound and music. But I think he did it best.
Yeah.
He did his best.
Yeah. It's a very tricky thing to sort of get right, isn't it? I can think of, for example, okay, I better not name him. There's a certain Indian composer who sometimes sings. He's a very contemporary artist, and recently he did a charity single which he sang in English, but there was just something that made it sound like every other English song or Western pop song that you hear. It's kind of like what you said about Tarkan earlier on, about the magic. You felt the magic would be lost if you tried to do an English version of it. And I think sometimes for artists there's such a desire for international recognition, this desire to want to be heard and acknowledged and loved outside of our own communities, that sometimes we go down that road of, well, if we do everything in the same language, that's one way of doing it, and achieving that, and sometimes it just doesn't always work.
It doesn't, because you're trying to be somebody else. I couldn't do that. I guess that's why it didn't really work out that well, but also because I didn't support it that much. I'm kind of tired of traveling all around, and because I was born in Germany, and then I came to Turkey, and I moved to America, I just lost, I don't know how to put it into words, where I belong, I just lost the, where my home is. I don't know where my home is now. I'm like, traveling all the time. I just wanted to be somewhere and just do what I like to do without any pressure, So since then, I haven't couldn't really answer this question. Shall
we move on to something else?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I want to move on to one of your very favourite tracks, my very favourite tracks by you, and it's got to be Kuzu Kuzu from Karma. When he talks about his plans for the future, his desire to help preserve the environment, and working with Sezen Aksu, amongst other things.
Since my childhood, I always felt like that this is the thing I have to do. Singing is a priority in my life. I love to sing, I love music, and I'm so glad that this happened. That music is my life.
Tarkan, as I say, we just heard one of my absolutely all-time favourite tracks by you, Kuzu Kuzu. Tell me about the essence of this song.
It's a love song again, but this time it's about me hurting the girl, the person I'm in love with.
So you're the baddie in this one?
Yeah, I'm the baddie in this one, and then I realized that and come back begging her to take me back. That's what the song is about.
So she has you on your knees,
yes,
which is how we'd all like to have you, really. Nazan Onjel was very influential, I believe, in the making of Karma, this particular album, in terms of songwriting.
We actually just wrote 2 songs with her. She wasn't involved in the whole process of the album.
Okay. So does that mean then that actually most of the songs were written by you?
Yes, in Karma it was like that.
And this is my favourite album by you, by the way. So it's great to hear that you actually... because this is the first album that you really took much more control over the songwriting.
Exactly. And since then I realized that I can pull this over, that I can write my own songs, and that it's actually a better idea.
So it really did sort of establish you much more as a more rounded artist in your own right. Up until this point, you worked a great deal, as we know, with Sezen Aksu. She'd been involved as a songwriter for something like maybe 5 years or so.
Yes.
Was it hard to make that break when you came to doing this album?
It was.
Kind of like a security blanket, something that you could rely on, someone you could rely on.
It was, because, Şükürüm and Şumari were such huge hits. And in the beginning of my career, people thought that my success was actually her success because of her songs. And of course, you know, ego, it just drives you crazy because you know that it's not just her songs, it's just the whole package, it's the whole thing. You singing that song in the right way and making sure that people are going to like it, being honest, being sincere. So I just tried to prove to myself that I can do that myself too, and I wrote Kuzu Kuzu, you know.
Did you write Hoop as well?
No, that's Nazan's song.
Oh, darn it. Sorry, I asked about that song. But Kuzu Kuzu, that's good. You did that one.
Yes.
So let's just concentrate on that one. When you compose, and now that you've learnt to compose, you know, from, was it, Karma came out in
2001.
2001,
yes.
Okay. When you do compose, what are the key messages you want to convey? I mean, are you normally talking about human relationships, about love, about unrequited love, about getting down on your knees and having to apologize for not having loved enough?
I don't like to be negative, even though it's about a downside of a love story. I'm kind of a spiritual person, and I'm trying to be always positive about everything. So it's generally about love in my songs, except the last album. For the first time, I just wanted to scream out my complaints about the world and the things I don't like, the things I wanted to be changed. That's why Metamorfoz is an important album to me. There are a couple of songs which are really about the system, how we're being controlled by the system, how we have to protect ourselves, our souls. But before, yes, I just kept singing about love, because love is all we really need. I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but it's the truth.
And also, driving force for you, I think, all the way along has been about entertaining the audience, as you've said yourself. So, why not? How do you compose? Are you one of those people? Do you sit at a piano and tinkle away at the keys, or do you have sleepless nights wrestling with words going through your head?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But well, years ago, I used to just have a recorder with me. Anywhere I go, if a melody comes up, just need to record it. But the past few years, I decided to learn the technical part of it, and I learned all the music programs to program my own songs. Took some lessons.
So you're working with what, Logic Audio?
Logic, Reason. So I first, if it's an up-tempo song, for example, I work on a beat, you know, like a groove, and then I come up with some melodies and lyrics. But sometimes, you know, the song just comes by itself. It's just, I don't know how a melody comes to you, and you just have to record it immediately. Lyrics, though, oh, that's a different deal, you know. It's tough to come up with new words, some things which haven't been said yet, or to put it in different ways to express it is tough. So during the process of an album, I have sleepless nights, yes. I can't sleep until I get that one word on that line which is missing.
So that's the bit you struggle with the most, is the lyrical side then?
Not struggle, but I think it should be like poetic, but also not old-fashioned in the same way. Sincere, new. It's tough.
Yeah, you're striving for perfection in that area.
Exactly.
Obviously.
If there's perfection, yes.
How did your musical career begin? I mean, we know you were born in Germany. You came to Istanbul, or to Turkey at the age of 13.
I took music classes when I first came to Turkey. When I was 14, I went to school, but it was classical Turkish music. It wasn't pop or anything. 3 years, while I was going to high school, I went to this, it wasn't like a school, but like a little community of people who are, you know, learning music. And then I used to sing in clubs and places to make money, you know, to feel more confident about my singing. But then I just met this guy in Istanbul who was a producer, and we did a demo song. It was a Gypsy King song. I wrote Turkish lyrics on it, and we did a Turkish version of that song.
Bambaleo?
No.
Volare?
No, not those very well-known ones. It was a ballad, which became a hit in Turkey. It was my first album. I don't know. Since my childhood, I always felt like that. This is the thing I have to do. Singing is a priority in my life. I love to sing. I love music, and I'm so glad that this happened. I mean, that music is my life, and that people are liking my music, that I'm being appreciated.
But then you come from a family of, I mean, you've got 5 other brothers and sisters, haven't you?
Yeah.
So is this something your parents encouraged? Because surely at that time it wouldn't have been seen as a respectable profession.
I'm lucky. My parents always encouraged me.
You were
Since
really
I was
lucky.
4 years old. I was like the center of the attention at home, because I like to sing. I was like putting a show for them, you know, like having a spoon or something as a microphone, singing for them for hours. They used to support me a lot, actually, you know.
Wow, so right from a young age you've been a showman.
Yeah.
Always a showman,
Yes.
even now. I mean, you have such a range of expression in your voice. I mean, this is one of the things I love about hearing you sing. You can do sadness, and you can do yearning, and you can do fun, and you can do elation, and above all, you are brilliant at sounding sexy. So what's the secret? How did you develop your vocal skills to such a point that you're able to convey so many different emotions?
I grew up listening to all kinds of music. That was a secret to it. I mean, Turkish music, English music, I mean, English language songs, German, all kinds of music. I was really open to it. I feel like I can adjust to all kinds of songs and just make my voice fit into all kinds of different styles of songs or music. I don't know. I guess that's just, you know, a gift I'm grateful to about.
But when you listen back, say in the post-production process, do you actually sit there and think, no, I'm not giving enough emotion to that song?
Oh, yeah.
And do you then go and re-record it, or what do you do?
I sing for hours, just one song. I mean, some people can't understand that during that process in the studios. They say to me, "It sounds amazing. Why are you really doing it?" But you know, my gut instincts tell me that the magic or the feeling is not right there yet. So I'm really picky about that, about singing sessions. And because I do a lot of background vocals to myself, it takes 4 hours. All those doubles I do, they have to be perfectly on time.
And you do all your own do you do a lot of your own harmonies as well?
Yes. I have some background vocals too on some songs, but you know, sometimes those different voices don't really fit into my world in the songs, so I prefer to do my own backgrounds mostly. I love to sing. I love to be in the studio, you know, and I just feel more energetic the more I sing. People get tired. I don't. I just can sing forever. 12 hours, 13 hours, I just keep singing. Giving breaks, of course, eating some things, going back.
What do you think about vocalists that have lost their voices? Is that a fear for you, that could happen?
Well, it is. I mean, I think it's every vocalist's fear. But you know, I'm taking care of myself, and I hope, you know, that won't happen to me. But it's a sad thing. It's a bad thing. I can't imagine not to be able to sing.
It's your greatest instrument.
Yes, it's what makes me me, and I couldn't live without it. I mean, but you know, because I like to write songs, I would be still satisfied by that at least, you know. But you know, thank God, my voice is in a good shape.
Tarkan, you come from a long line of great singers in Turkey. I suppose just in the last, 50 years, obviously Zeki Müren, Bülent Ersoy, Ajda Pekkan, to name but a few. Perhaps out of the older greats, do you have a favourite?
In Turkey? Well, Sezen Aksu was always my mentor because she's a great lyricist. You know, I'm really close friends still. I love her, and her talent, her musical influence has been a big motivation and a push in my career in Turkey. But besides Turkey, I mean, I love the Beatles. I mean, I love Sting. He's great as an artist to me. A lot of American artists I love a lot. I mean, some rock bands. I mean, some R&B singers. I'm a little strange about that. I mean, I can't listen to everything. I like classical music. I like ethnic music a lot. I like Oriental music. I like rock. Which is, I guess, the reason that I can fit into all those kinds of songs when I sing too. Just I can relate to them all.
You're absorbing influences from so many different genres, basically, and so many different people.
Thanks for putting it in a better way for me.
And it all kind of goes into your little brain there, which is how me. This is me not putting it better than you, right, straight away. What do you love about Istanbul? Because you have now chosen to come back and live here after spending years in New York. So something pulled you back to this city.
Well, it's my country, you know. Turkey is my country. Istanbul, I like the dynamic of Istanbul. So many people. And as a city, I think it's a beautiful city. The Bosphorus is beautiful. I love all those bridges and the houses and the restaurants. And because my family's here, my girlfriend is here, my friends, my office, I just feel home in Istanbul. But I love the world, and I feel like the world belongs to all of us. I don't believe in borders and all these limits, you know, like religion and races and all that. So I feel like a global person.
Okay, well that's good. It sounds though you have kind of found your home, at least for the moment.
For the moment.
Without asking you to be a soothsayer, I have to ask you, where do you think Turkish music is heading? In terms of what are young Turkish people asking for these days? What are you picking up in that sense?
Well, pop is changing direction lately in Turkey, I think. I mean, because it's been overdone and overused so many times in Turkey. So many songs which were really hits, but been played by radio stations, and people got sick of them, I guess. And you know, mostly just one song in the album was a hit and the rest wasn't. So people lost faith, I guess, in many albums, in pop albums in Turkey. So some young artists tried to do some different kinds of music, like Turkish rock, Turkish hip-hop. I believe it's not original. It's something we not really are. But you know, it's nice that some young talents are trying to give more, to be more valuable with their music.
So there's a little bit of an identity crisis, really, in some ways, isn't there?
There is.
But what about you personally? What goals or all projects do you want to fulfill next? Once you've got the Wembley show out of the way on April the 13th in London.
I'm going to have a tour this summer in Turkey and some other countries like Germany. Probably I'm going to go to Germany, do a few gigs there.
And suffer the weather.
Yes. Russia, I'm going to probably go to Russia too. I'm hoping to go to South America, maybe to Mexico, to do a show there.
And that'll be your first time?
Yes, actually. I've been there. I promoted my album back then when the Shimmerk song was big. It wasn't a concert, it was like a mini concert. But besides music, I'm starting to walk on this new road of my life, which is I really want to help the nature, because I think that people underestimate the power of the nature, and that we are part of the nature. So there's a foundation in Turkey, Foundation of Nature. So we're gonna do like some amazing projects together. In the past years, I realized that I like to take pictures. So I keep buying cameras and taking pictures of nature, of people, countries, cities. I had just after the French journey in Turkey a few days ago, taking pictures of different places in Turkey where the natures are being destroyed, actually. For example, did you know that we have flamingos in Turkey?
No.
Thousands of them. You know, people have to know about these things, I think, and we have to preserve the nature. So I want to do some different things in my life besides music.
Excellent. So you're moving off into other directions altogether then. I mean, is there any thought perhaps that you might give up music altogether? Could that happen?
Never.
I'm glad to hear that.
Never.
I think a lot of people would be very glad to hear. If you could if you could pinpoint any one thing that you could have done, that you wished you'd done differently in your career, what would it have been?
In my career? Probably the English album.
Okay.
I would have acted faster and not lose the momentum and the magic on that album. I mean, during the process of the album. And maybe I just regret the fact that I worked with so many producers on that album, like 10 different producers. It just made the album sound a little complicated, I think. Different styles of songs.
Too many cooks spoil the broth.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
nice, thanks. It's just easier to put it that way.
Well, what about a greatest moment? What would you, I mean, and I'm sure rather lots of those to choose from, but would you pick out can you pick out a greatest moment that really stands out for you?
Greatest moment. I remember like 12 years ago when my father passed away. I had to perform like 2 days after that day. I can't forget that moment on stage when all my fans were like supporting me amazingly. We literally cried all together, and I can't forget that moment. It was amazing. My beard was all long. I didn't even know. I didn't even get dressed well. I just went on stage, and I didn't cancel the show. I didn't want to cancel it because I just felt like music is gonna save me for a couple of hours and make me feel a little more happier. That was amazing, that concert.
And you were completely at one with the audience, and in a very, well, not a great moment in your life, obviously.
It was. I mean, towards the end of the concert, I realized that I'm dancing even a little bit. You know, they got into me, and wow, it was amazing.
They gave you the strength.
Yes, exactly. Hi, this is Tarkan on BBC London 94.9 FM.
We've just heard Şıkıdım, which I suppose really was your first really huge pop hit.
Yeah.
Do you think your career would have been quite different without that long?
Oh yeah, definitely. That song changed my life, I think.
It really set the pace.
It did, yeah.
For what was to come, the great things that were to come.
Yes. The album was a good album, but there was one song missing like that. And then Sezen Aksu came into my life. She said, you know, you need a big hit for this album because it's a great album. And then she wrote that song in a few hours in front of my eyes.
And this is for the album Olurum Sana.
Acayipsin.
Acayipsin.
Yeah.
Okay.
The second album.
The second album.
Olurum Sana is a Şımarık album. I think his song on it.
I'm just going to beat up the people that have written all the press releases.
That's okay. You don't have to remember the titles.
It's great for you to correct me because that's what you're here for, amongst other things. Looking at the, I mean, actually, interestingly enough, looking at the album cover, which kind of housed Şıkıdım, the one called Tarkan.
Yeah. The one which was released in Europe.
Yes,
yeah.
I've got that bit right, have I?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the one that's called Tarkan, and it's got Şıkıdım and it's got Şımarık on it. Released in 1999 in Europe, and I do have a copy at home, so I can vouch for this. Now, there's such a marked difference in your image because on the front cover of the album, you've got kind of tousled hair, and you're wearing a kind of casual sweater and sort of jeans, and then fast forward to kind of almost 10 years later to your new album Metamorfoz, and there you are in a suit and tie and a beard. So what happened? Did Tarkan grow up?
Oh yeah, I'm 35 years old. I used to be 24 when that album came out there, like 10 years ago. I don't feel old, but I feel matured and more experienced now. More like an adult. You know, the image is not really a serious thing to me. It's just a suit, just a beard, just short hair. I don't think we should take it too seriously. I think what matters is the songs and the magic about the songs, you know.
Sure, and coming back to Metamorfoz, a great album and some great songs. Be interesting to see what you look like in 10 years' time on another album cover, though. Be interesting to see what you're wearing.
I'm not going to have any Botox done, never. So.
No Botox, please, no Botox. Tarkan, thank you so much for spending some time with me. Obviously, I wish you continued success in all that you do in the future. You've brought me and many other people great joy, I can tell you. And we're looking forward so much to welcoming you back to London at Wembley on April the 13th.
Looks forward over it. I was a little nervous in this interview, but we're going to have a lot of fun at my show.
We are, definitely. We'll do the Roomba or something backstage. Teşekkürler.
Teşekkürler.